Hey guys, it's Evan, and I just got off the phone a little bit ago with a producer from Espn, and we're working on a project together on Friday, it looks like. And so I just wanted to sort of quickly record some of my thoughts now so that they're probably a little more accurate than if I were to do them in the future. So basically, I got a call asking if I was available to shoot on Friday locally, which is cool. It's always a nice thing when that happens. And I said, sure, that's a definite possibility. What sort of are we looking at? So they said, well, it'd be a quick scout Thursday and then shoot Friday. And what it is a tabletop shoot, and it's for a open of a basketball game. So there's a Lakers-Celtics game, and they do these like hype intros, and they want to shoot some memorabilia at the Basketball Hall of Fame, sort of from the history of the Celtics-Lakers rivalry. And I live like 12 minutes from the Basketball Hall of Fame, so ESPN producer called me up, said, hey, this is sort of the concept. We talked about creative. I'll probably tag in a few little sound bites from that conversation. But we just sort of talked about, like, what are you guys thinking? How do we want to use color? How do we want to move the camera? What do we need gear-wise? How much time do we have? What's the pacing of the piece? So one of the things they sent me is the song that they're planning on using, which is helpful. And I think they're also working on doing sort of like a vibe edit, almost like just doing a cut of some stuff so we can sort of get a sense of what they're looking at. They might actually be starting to cut together some of the footage that they already have from like archival footage and stuff as well. But so sort of once we talked about logistics and it seemed doable, then I sent over a quote. Oh, and some of the other stuff we talked about are like how we can make it dynamic. So the plan is for us to shoot these objects like shoes and tickets and stuff on white seamless, but then use RGB light and color stuff with the colors of the respective teams. So green for the Celtics and purple for the Lakers, which I'm super down for. So planning on bringing a sky panel, probably at least one RGB quasar. Tried to get a Voyager prototype, but it doesn't look like that'll happen. Excuse me, I was thinking there's some cool stuff we could do with that, with the animating and whatnot. But what else? So yeah, we talked about gear, talked about lenses and wanting to do some macro stuff and some movement stuff, and probably dolly being the most effective way for us to get those mixtures of things quickly. And that was pretty much it for that conversation. They asked for a quote, so I sort of wrote up an estimate, which I can tag in here, sort of showing what I figured all of that should cost. And the way that I basically tackled it was that since it's a short day, I don't really like half days, but I was like, we'll treat it as one full day, and I'll sort of just throw in our brief scout since it's not really a full day on Friday. So the estimate, let's see if I pull that up real quick. And sort of my goal with the estimate is to charge fair rates for everything, while also hopefully making sure that we have enough for everything we need. So my day rate's $1,200. We have a grip coming at $300, a PA coming at $150. Honestly, I would probably normally like for those to be a little higher, but since it's a short day, I figured we can probably get away with that. So a mirror rental's $1,000, $300 for lenses, and we're gonna shoot on my Vista Primes, and I'm just gonna rent 100 macro for the shoot, so that should pretty much cover that. And then we have $750 for lighting, which will cover sky panel, our seamless. I'll probably bring a few little things, but most of the rest of the lighting stuff is mine, and we're gonna rent the sky panel from Quentin since he owns one, and then just hard drives $200, so that comes out to $3,900. So production budget for me is $3,900, and out of that, my hard costs are paying the crew, paying the lens rental, and paying for the sky panel. And then I decided to also pick up a few things. I ordered a white seamless just so I would have a new one that we can use for that. I already have stands and stuff for that. And then I went on Amazon and I did order 2 little Bowens mount snoots that we can use with my aperture lights, so that we can use those to sort of get some controlled spots of lights if we're like trying to highlight a specific part of a ticket or a specific name on a jersey. So I figured the snoots would be good to play with. We have some black wrap, and since we only really have 2 hours to roll on these items, we want to basically have as much flexibility to move as quickly as possible while, you know, having a plan. It's this balance of like, we want stuff that's interesting, but we don't want to get hung up and waste a bunch of time. So that's sort of where we're at right now. I locked crew in. Technically the shoot isn't 100% locked in. My budget already got approved, which is good, but we're still waiting on one more thing until everything's super locked in. But we also got the go ahead to do BTS on this, so I'm planning on shooting some BTS on set on Friday. Probably bring my camera to the Scout. So yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I might re-record this and make it more efficient, but that's sort of where we're at. So thanks for watching. Off to the next part. Hey guys, it's the morning before our shoot. We have our Scout in a little over 2 hours now, and I wanted to quickly run through sort of a few of the things that I was doing the last few days to help get ready for this shoot. So I ordered a few things that I knew we would need. 2 1 terabyte LaCie hard drives for dumping and everything, because for these kinds of shoots, that becomes our responsibility to sort of everything up until handing the footage off to them, and then their editors take care of it. So ordered some hard drives, rented a Tokina 100mm macro to go with the Vista Primes, so we're going to shoot on this guy and the Vista Primes. I went to filmandvideolighting.com, who are local to Connecticut, and I ordered some extra purple and green gels. One thing that I've learned the hard way a few times is that as much as I love RGB LEDs, they don't always get every color perfect that you want, especially with some of the mixing colors. Like usually the green's good, but like purple can be harder because you're mixing blue and red. So I picked up some gels, both as a backup plan, as well as if we want to take any of the other lights that aren't the sky panel or my RGB quasar and to be able to put color on them. So like the aperture lights or anything, we'll have these guys. So I picked up a few gels. It was like 50 bucks or something, and just got an assortment. I also picked up 2 snoots off Amazon. These were like $15 each, and these can go on the Aperture 120D, and the main thought with those is that if we're shooting tickets or jerseys or anything and we want to highlight a specific area, that allows us to put a really localized spotlight on something, and it's gellable as well, so figured those might be a good option just in case if we need to add some depth, and they're cheap. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, the one other thing I believe that we're waiting on today is for an extra white seamless. I do have some sort of like kicking around here that we could use in a pinch. I tend to keep scraps of these things, but it's always nice to just show up with a new one in those situations. So basically going to the Scout at 1 o'clock, gonna check the plan out, come back, just hang out for a bit and take care of some other work, and then this evening I have to run down about 45 minutes away to meet Quentin and get the Amira and lenses, renting his sky panel, and he's got my shuttle dolly and stuff, so sort of collecting gear from him, and then we should be pretty much all good to go. So lighting package is basically an S60 sky panel, and my rainbow tube, the quasar, as our primary RGB sources, and then I'm going to bring both my 120Ds. I'll probably bring a few quasars. It's sort of going to depend on car space too, but bring a few quasars, bring maybe my Razor 7. I don't know if I see us needing that though. We'll get a better sense of the Scout. And then just stands. Probably can hold up the backdrop with one C-stand with a grip arm on it, so that'll be easy. So yeah, stands. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Just a few small modifiers. I might run out to like Walmart and grab a few white cards and black cards of just like, they have like the foam almost that you can use there, so those are really easy to fly in as modifiers for stuff like this, and that's pretty much it. So it's a pretty simple setup. Oh, I'm also borrowing Quentin's like client monitor. So that's pretty much the gear list, and then tonight we'll go through everything, make sure it's all set up okay, and hopefully tomorrow goes well. But that's pretty much the plan. Yeah, so moving on to the next thing. Okay guys, so I'm about to head to the Scout. Really my main goals here are just to get a sense of location and how much control of the light we have. Optimally, I want to be able to black everything out in the room. A sense of exact schedule and what our restrictions are with access to our props and stuff. What their like table situation is in there, because we want to put our seamless on a table or something. So seeing if we have to bring a table in, and power, just getting a sense of power and what all we'll need for stingers and stuff. So those are our big things. I'm bringing this camera, and hopefully they won't get freaked out, but I'll try and record some stuff while we're at the Scout, and if I don't, then you'll see me on the other side of it then.
So it's literally impossible to get to that, isn't it?
3.5 miles.
We finished the Scout, and it was pretty straightforward, honestly. Most of what we were looking at was just what we have access to for props and what our room would be. And they basically have this like banquet hall that we're going to be able to use as a room. And there's not a ton of stuff for us to shoot. It's basically like a couple jerseys and jackets, a couple pairs of shoes, some Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goggles, and that's about it. So thankfully we can get in a little earlier than we thought, which is good. Gives us a little less pressure from a schedule perspective. I was mainly looking out for lights we could control and power options. We're gonna try and do a 10-foot seamless now, just to give us a little extra room. My biggest concern with that being like how much light control we have with that. But so we spent a little time talking about that and like how we want to set up our little tabletop setup in there. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward, honestly, just going through like what are our options to shoot, how we're gonna shoot this, and making sure we have an efficient plan for tomorrow. So getting a sense from them too of like how they want to use color and stuff, and I feel like we're all on the same page on sort of mostly coloring the area around the objects and doing some white light on the objects. And yeah, so should be good. 9:15 call tomorrow, and the Scout took right about an hour, so pretty quick. So see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so I need to gap fill a little bit here. It is not the morning of the shoot. I'm recording this after the fact, basically because ended up being busy loading up gear and getting to the location everything morning of the shoot, and did not actually film anything behind the scenes wise then. So I guess I can try to narrate how that went. So night before, got the gear, picked up everything that we needed, ended up not having enough room in my car for everything. So Dennis came over. We put some stuff in his car. He was going to be our grip for the next day. So that worked out. Went to bed, got up, finished getting gear into the car, rolled out, got breakfast, got coffees for everyone, went to the location, and just started loading everything in. It took us a little bit to get in, so we ended up getting, I'd say, doors open more at 9:30 than 9:15. And then we basically got right to work on starting to set everything up. So the only real BTS I have of this is this time lapse. And so we started putting everything together, picked a corner, put up our tables, and quickly realized that the shuttle dolly was missing some pieces. So Dennis and my brother Tate got to work on trying to fix that, and we were troubleshooting that for a little bit. And then while they were doing that, I sort of went back to starting to light things. Plan was to key with the sky panel through, actually just to key with the sky panel on with a chimera on it and shoot on the smaller seamless for as long as possible, just to make things easier on ourselves. And so they were working on finishing that. I turned on the sky panel and had a snooted 120D, and Espn people came over and we were sort of talking through lighting options, and they were like, well, what happens if we turn everything off except for just the sky panel? And I was like, so down. So we looked at that, and that ended up being the look that we settled on. So it's just a single source sidey light, but we decided since it was easy to make that bigger, we would do that. So we went out, got our 9 or 10 foot seamless, whatever it is, and we put a 6x light grid in front of the sky panel, and that's to make it so that even though it's a little further away from our objects, it's similarly soft because it's larger. So as we move our source farther away, we have to make it bigger in order to get the same quality of light. Then we worked on just tweaking a few little things with flagging off a few hot spots in the background, flagging off some spill from some practicals, and then we were pretty much good to go. Oh, not you guys. You're good.
Oh, did they raise that in the back?
Yeah.
That's awesome. As high as it would go.
We might be able to buy ourselves a little more if we have to. Hey, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
Can we come up with that floppy again, like 6 inches on Tate's side?
Got to hear a lot of drop.
That's what I like to hear.
You said 6 inches up?
Yes, please. Just see where that, yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, I see.
The next step was just dialing in exactly how much we wanted the saturation on each of the colors. So I can say that we ended up at around like 25% saturation on the green and I think around 75% saturation on the purple. And that's something that you really end up having to test. So funny thing is we didn't use the snoot, didn't use the gels that I got or anything else because we just did the sky panel. But I will say that it would have been nice to have a Flanders at this point because there was a little bit of inaccuracy in the 702 OLED I was using, but it was okay. So we basically went ahead, just started rolling through, ended up shooting right around noon, I believe. We grabbed lunch sort of as we were working quickly in the middle. And once we had it lit, it was pretty much just an issue of moving shuttle dolly around, moving objects in and out of our setup, and then rolling through as many different options as we could. And at this point, I'm sort of just asking, for the team, since they had editors on set who were working on the piece and whatever too, what do you need of each object? And so we pretty much did wide pushes and pulls of everything, and then some macro slides and rack focus pulls. So that was pretty much it. There wasn't a whole lot else to say about the day. I mean, like I said, it was just sort of, once we settled on doing the single source thing, it was mainly just flagging off any weird hotspots and stuff and sort of settling in our exact angle of attack and then tweaking things a little bit when we moved into the macro, but it was a pretty simple setup overall. So that's pretty much how that went down. We ended up going 2 hours over our original estimated ending, which put us at a 7-hour day total, so it wasn't too bad. But that's part of why we didn't get a lot of BTS, is because we were just gunning through, and even though we got in 45 minutes early, we still got out 2 hours late. So at that point, we started loading out, handed off a drive to the guys at ESPN, and they took it to go immediately get to work so that it could be done for Wednesday. Good job. Dennis, we did it.
Yeah, we did.
How'd it go?
It went well. It's pretty. A lot of standing around. Classic hurry up and wait.
Classic surfing Tinder.
Dude, I gotta stay busy while I'm being busy.
Oh. So I didn't film hardly any actual behind the scenes, so I'll have to retroactively do some explaining here, so I'll probably go to me in my office trying to explain what happened. But long story short, went well, hopefully got everything we need. Went long, but we're all wrapped out and ready to go home now.
When you face your rival, what do you see? Is it a visage of triumph? Or that of a defeated daze? Does hostility cloud your vision?
And now let's watch this in our test already grappling. He brings the elbow off. It is turning physical.
Can you look past the differences between the gritty and the glamorous? Maybe you see the emergence of something new. Or maybe you see everything that's defined you. Lakers, Celtics. The rivalry continues on NBA Countdown.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Not much. What's up with you?
Not much. Life treating you good?
Yeah, keeping busy. Been taking October a little slow and just trying to, I don't know, be a normal person again, but it's been good.
Nice. So, we got a big game, Celtics Lakers, coming up next Wednesday.
Yep.
And so we wanted to do an open for it. And so one thing we wanted to shoot, probably be just this shoot is like go to the Basketball Hall of Fame and just shoot all the memorabilia they have from that rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe it's an old pair of Larry Bird shoes, if it's this or that, whatever it is.
Okay.
And they're a little hard to work with. They wouldn't give me a list of what they had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the concept's kind of simple. This is what I want to talk to you about. I kind of just want to create like take a table there. Like they said they'd give us a room to work in or something. That's why I need you at the Scout.
Okay.
And just, prop up, like put a white site down or just white paper and do, like let's say it's a pair of tickets. Like do a cool move, or it's a net, or it's a jersey. Like somewhere we can lay out that jersey in a certain hang it or whatever and shoot it. But like when we do a Lakers thing, and this is all open to, like I'm not stuck on this idea, but just thinking out loud here with you, that like we use the quasar maybe to do like a purple light on it, because it's Lakers, it's purple. But yeah, like that. Do you know that not that I'm a big Drake fan, but that Drake video like Hotline Bling,
yeah,
where he's in the cubes, how the light is just around it and it's really soft, but it changes color and it's just a different look.
Yeah.
But like taking something old like this and giving it like a new lighting scheme might be the right contrast to make it come off pretty cool.
Okay. And so like what's the I guess like how long is the open, and is it made up entirely of this footage, and like what's the pacing of it?
No, we'll mix in and out of older footage, like rivalry footage, and we'll eventually get to present day. This footage, I think, just gets us, carries us to that moment. Like this kind of gets us started. And the pacing, if you Google the song, as of right now, this is the song. There's a group called the Suns, Suuns, and it's called the song's called 2020.
Okay. Looking it up. I dig it.
You can play and listen to it for a little bit if you want.
And so how long is the piece?
It's probably like 45 seconds.
Yeah, I dig it. It's got a cool. So it's not like super fast, but it's not like super slow and moody either.
Yeah. I'm trying to create drama. Like I want you to think there's hate and evil between these two teams. So like, the more we can display that, like I think I kind of see really subtle moves on this stuff. Like how we move in. I just worry about like stuff like a jersey. Like, do we lay it flat down and then do a move on it? With what? Like, and the guys are a little bit of a pain. They're only going to let us really shoot for 2 hours. So we got to have something that's like systematically down. Like, you can't experiment too much, but we just need to know, like Thursday we'll know what we're shooting when we look at it. Friday we have to execute it.
Yeah. I almost wonder, I don't know, I'm just trying to think like if you did something where you do like white paper and do like colored light to match the teams, and then do some combo of like almost a little bit wider like push in type things, and then like some tighter like macro stuff with diopters, and like make it weird so you guys can like cut on some of those like flashes and stuff.
Yeah, I do agree with the macro, and I put in that note, like that macro is it could be really cool. Can you imagine like having an old pair of Nikes and just getting like super tight and just seeing like the old threads going through there?
Yeah.
Like that could be pretty cool.
Yeah. So I like that. I do think some of this stuff is probably a little trickier, basically almost from more like an art direction perspective, like the jerseys and stuff. Like shoes and tickets are easy. Jerseys are a little tricky. Unless you almost did it where like you put the jerseys down like underneath everything and like build them almost if you built like a little set for each team where it's like a jersey and then like shoes and like some different stuff, and then you like shoot that setup and get a bunch of different stuff of it and then get a wide and then do the same thing with the other team and then you sort of do a reveal almost.
Yeah, I don't think we'll build like I think we'll cut quickly behind we'll cut quickly to each individual element.
Yeah.
So like it's not going to be we're trying to make a museum or recreate a little like altar.
Right.
Which we've done before, which is great. But this, I think we want to isolate each item. Mm-hmm. I think, what about this though? What if we laid the jersey down flat on white paper and shot down on it?
We could do that.
How hard is it to rig that?
It's not necessarily difficult. I would probably either do those all first or last, and just have it be its own little setup.
Yep. Because and another good thing to think about is, we just need it's a little quicker than like I would want to spend on each element. So I don't know how much they have, but let's say they have 20 things we can shoot. Okay. Mm-hmm. We have 2 hours of setup time and 2 hours of shoot time. I'd love to spend just like 20 minutes at the most on each, but then I still wouldn't get through everything.
Right.
But that's where even if we laid it down and you just ran the movie over it, or we had like a small tripod and we shot down on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, but the macro.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I feel like in my mind, I don't know. Sort of as I think about just like the edit, I sort of feel like the macro stuff's gonna play a lot, and I feel like having some just contextualization for the items with like slightly wider stuff can play a lot. I'm just trying to think of like what the key things. Like, do you even necessarily need to show a whole jersey, or is it like getting the macro of like the name on the jersey or number? Where like we don't even have to go really wide.
These are very interstitial moments. So, like, that's why we don't need the wide so much. Like, the full-frame video from 1970 is more the stuff that plays to the story. Mm-hmm. These play to surround the story.
Yeah. So I almost feel like you could lean even heavier into, like, the macro stuff then. Yeah. And sort of just use it as these little transitions where, like, I don't know, you have, like, a shot and, like, someone does a thing and then you just, like, cut to a little shoot and cut to another play and then, like, you cut to that player's name on a jersey and then you cut to, just, like, a lot of the tighter things, especially if you're isolating them. And then maybe you could still get wides of, like, some items, but I feel like you don't necessarily need wides of every item, Like, if the jersey's just not going to look great super wide, then just get wides of tickets and shoes and whatever else and stick to tights on jerseys or something to make it simple.
Let me ask you this. What else, like when we shoot static people, and it's going to the music or it has we're trying to make something cooler than it is. A lot of times lights semi-timed up to the music, like lights moving. Not like, sometimes we've used intelligent lighting and had that all out, but like, is there any little trick? Like, could we flash something across the jersey to give us a little movement of the light?
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that I was thinking of too, just as we were talking about it, is like, I feel like we could definitely play with either doing some like hits or almost like having, depending on exactly what we want with tool-wise, like even if you, like take a light and sort of wave it over the top and you get this like passing effect and stuff.
Yeah.
You can definitely do that to sort of like reveal, it's darker, but you still have your color, and then you like see the name on the jersey as it passes over and stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, like even some of that, like I feel like you could almost, I don't know, depending on the vibe of the whole thing, but you could almost take the jersey and like fold it up or like sort of crumple it up, like make it look like it got thrown somewhere or something, and it's like still on the white, but like, you know, it isn't like hanging up, but it's like sort of, you know, art directed so the name's in there and it gives you sort of some depth to shoot through and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we could definitely play with doing some little lighting accents. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just having a sense of like, sort of like how many good shots do we really need, so that we're making sure that we get everything you need in the time we have, but that if we know how many we need, we know how much time we have to like play with doing some cool stuff too, you know? Because like it's easy to get a ton of safe stuff and it's easy to get a couple crazy shots, but like presumably we have to be somewhere in the middle.
Yes. And I'll have a lot better idea once we see it on Thursday.
Right.
That's why I get to scout it, and I can talk to their historian or their curist and just kind of like, all right, this, and this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel good. I feel like, you know, just having our basic setup set up,
Mm-hmm.
and then picking those few moments where like, oh wow, this is a really cool thing. This really works.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe we have everything on a slider, so we can just do some really cool moves with you know, I don't know, like we need to move so quick. I'm just thinking, what's the best way we could shoot macro and shoot our safe? Should we have like the macro on a DSLR? Will they match? I mean,
yeah, I mean, we could do, I feel like if we did like a Dana Dolly type thing, I think that would give us a balance of like, you can sort of like lock it down and get in there really tight, and you can still do moves and stuff. That would probably be the best balance. I mean, I can always like even bring a C100 and have it just on standby for like anything else.
Yep.
But I feel like realistically, I think that we'd probably be fine with one camera, you know, and if we just sort of stick to the dolly thing for the most part, and then maybe, you know, we could even play with sort of like doing some of the macro stuff, or just doing some of it like tight, but like a little handheld, like having a little bit of a move to it to give it some life and stuff, and then some of it more like locked off and moving light, and like to give it a little diversity where like some of it light's not crazy but the camera's moving a little bit, and some of it's more locked off but there's sort of the light passes, and then like, you know,
Yep.
cut it together so it feels like it has some variety to it.
yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, well, we're gonna do a little mood edit between tonight and tomorrow night.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great too. And if there's anything like else that you guys have visually that sort of like I don't know, that you dig, I can try and dig up a few things too. That would definitely be helpful. Are you like, how confident do you feel in the like wanting to do everything with colored lights thing?
I'm just comfortable in the safety of it. Like, I know just shooting something straight on and put a little color on it, like the things we can do back in post, we can make it look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are you suggesting, that we shoot it just flat?
No, I mean, I love the idea of color. I'm just sort of considering, like, if I'm thinking about gear and stuff, like, how much we want to definitely lean into that idea versus how much we're like, we might not love it, you know?
Yes, I see what you're saying. And yeah, I mean, how much does that affect budget and cost? Is it like crazy to get a hold of, or can you take the quasars and just turn the color, or?
I would probably, I'm trying to.
Now, here's another thought too.
Yeah.
If you had some LED strips,
Mm-hmm.
or even the quasars, having them as practical lighting in the frame,
Yeah.
might be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely play with, like, sort of laying them, like, across as part of the thing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would make a huge difference. I mean, what's, like, the biggest What's the biggest item or like widest shot you see us getting? Is it like trying to fit a whole jersey, or are we even going to go that wide, do you think?
Yeah. Most I would think would be that, like, it's like a tabletop prop shoot.
Right.
Like I don't know if they have a trophy there. They might have that. They might have a replica.
Yeah.
Those are all dicey as I'll get out because they're just a big mirror.
Yeah.
But we can I think it would be pretty small. I don't think they'll have a lot of. I don't think we're gonna try to shoot a backboard from that game. I think the jersey might be the biggest. And
Okay.
that's why I was wondering if we could like lay it down and shoot down on it. Even like if we have to do that one thing handheld with the C100.
Yeah.
Like, that's worth it to me if that's all. But
Right.
We
could figure it out. I'm just trying to think of like how big a seamless we'd want, and like how big or how large we'd want our lights to be based on like the scale we're shooting at,
Yeah.
Because the smaller stuff is, the smaller lights you can use. I mean, I'd probably be inclined to like do a sky panel and a few other little things either way.
I think it's pretty small setup. Like, I'm hoping we're in a conference room with a table. And
Yeah.
we're just using what we have. Like, I don't think we'll have that much room. I don't think we'll have much time. Like, I don't want to go too big. I want you to be as flexible as you can be within reason. Like, hey, let's just move this light here without, taking too long.
Right.
Then, I saw how quick you worked with the quasars doing the shoot we did in Miami. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely. I don't feel like I'm super worried about the quickness of it. Just trying to make sure that we have a efficient way of tackling it.
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, our primary colors then are purple and green. Would you want to do anything with like yellow, or like what's the other Celtics color? Is there a secondary one?
White.
Yeah, like would you
just
want to
green
do
and
that
white.
at all, or just do green and purple?
Yeah, I think, and also it's like a hint of it sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, we could
that's
play
where-
with like throwing just a little bit of yellow into some of the purple stuff, and like a little bit of white in some of the green stuff too.
Yeah. Or it's just a hint of purple over the white background. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Lighting's always the one that, like, that's where I wish I had 10 hours to like play with that.
Yeah. Okay. And
Oh, hey, real quick before I
Yeah.
forget. So you're not in the system.
I'm not.
No. So can I pay you through your buddy in West Hartford?
Quentin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. That's what we did for the shoot with Luis or whatever. They just have
Yeah.
one thing in the system, and they've just been paying whoever comes out through that.
Do you want to give him a heads up before I talk to him?
He's cool. I was actually literally just texting him because he owns a Sky Panel to see if it's around Friday, so he'd be cool with it. Okay, so realistically, I feel like we want to do a Mira, make sure we have a good macro, like Dana Dolly, some RGB LEDs, white seamless, and then other than that, I mean, I think maybe
I think
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think you're heading on the right track. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I feel like it'd probably be good to have like a grip and a PA hands on deck.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
is it just you on set from ESPN?
But there might be one other producer with me, but definitely put grip and PA down for you.
Okay, and then you've got. Do you guys provide drives, or would you need me to grab drives?
I think right now we could provide drives, but I might
Not a big
actually
deal
go ahead
either
and
way.
put it in the estimate. Yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably most of it. And then, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but I feel like what probably makes the most sense is just to treat it as like one day with the scout, since it's sort of like a short shoot day, and then the scout the day before, and just call it like one day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I can whip up an estimate then and send that over. And if you have any thoughts, we can obviously figure out what we have to tweak with that.
Yeah. Just
But
give do two things.
Yep.
Give is it Quentin?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Give him a heads up and then send me his phone number and stuff just so
Okay.
I can double check. Because, I mean, there's probably other companies I could pay you through, but it'd be easier through someone who knows you.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Pay him. And, yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, I'll call him right after we get off this too.
Okay.
And then I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I'm not accounting for. Are we shooting log or 709 for this?
I think we go 709. We got a really quick turnaround.
Okay. And then do you have like a resolution codec particular idea?
I think we would most likely go ProRes 422 at 1080.
Okay.
But what can your Amira go up to? 4K?
Yeah, we can do 3.2K and 4K all the way up to ProRes Quad 4.
Yeah. But I mean, that usually works. Can you do ProRes 422 at 4K or 3.5K?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it at both.
Maybe might do that, but either way, it sounds like, I mean, if you shoot on a mirror, we're covered.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it looks like Quentin's Sky Panel is around, so I'll just have to make sure that I can source some lenses for Friday.
Yep.
But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So Scout Thursday afternoon, roll in Friday morning, and then we have 2 hours to set up. Is that like a hard in? Like if for some reason Thursday we felt like we needed a little more time, could we theoretically show up a little sooner, or like start rolling a little later? Like how hard is that schedule?
I think we're gonna have to butter this guy up and be like, hey, it's just me and Evan and a couple of guys. Like, can we just come up? I think once I get there and work with him, I think we can get a little more time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super worried about the time frame. I just, it's just a good thing to know, like, if we could buy ourselves a half hour if we needed to or something.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, cool. Well, that all sounds great. I'll put some numbers together and reach out to crew and gear real quick. But that all sounds good, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
No, yeah, it'll be good. I think it'll be a fun shoot. And hopefully get some more work going out of this.
Yeah, man, that'd be great.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You
Bye.
too.